Assalamu alaikum, ma'am.
Assalamu alaikum, Maryam. How are you?
I am fine, alhamdulillah. How are you, ma'am?
Alhamdulillah, I'm good. In this section, we have to focus on the last part of this course, that is task number 4. And we will be covering 3.2 assessment criteria and 3 distinction part 1.
Okay.
Evaluate the business proposals for the capital expenditure in an organization using appropriate financial techniques. First, we have to focus on the command word, which is evaluate. Until now, we know that what it means. You have to focus on strengths, weaknesses, similarities, differences, and a reasoned judgment as well. Now we have to talk about the business proposals for capital expenditure in an organization. We are going to make few kinds of proposals, which is basically going to be depicting the capital expenditure in any of the project which is going to be in the organization. And how we are going to conclude that by using financial techniques, that is most probably net present value, IRR, payback period, and so on. A business proposal is a formal document that outlines a specific project or initiative, providing detailed information about its objectives, scope, methods, budget, and expected outcomes. So, first of all, in general, what a proposal and an organization proposal is. It is all about talking the detailed information of the objectives, scopes, methods. Whatever we are going to take, what kind of methods we are going to initiate in the project for a specific XYZ project, we are going to include that in that. We always make a research proposal. And it is a short summary that what it is going to be in the thesis. It is just like that. It is created by a business or an individual to present a plan to potential stakeholders such as investors, clients, partners with the goal of gaining approval, supporting, or funding. So, why we make a business proposal? It is for the recommendations and approvals from the senior management team and the board of directors. In business proposal, we have executive summary, project objectives and scope, methodology and approach, budget and financial projections, timelines and milestones, and conclusion and call to action. This is a general outline of what a business proposal looks like. CapEx, or the capital expenditure, refers to the funds that a company invests in the acquisition, maintenance, or improvement of the physical assets such as property, buildings, equipment, or tech, with the intention of generating future benefits. So why we spend and why we are using the word capital expenditure? It is because it is related to all the assets, liabilities in the organization, which includes the property, buildings, everything in it, the physical assets. Capital expenditures are long-term investment that are expected to enhance the company's operational efficiency, productivity, or overall competitiveness. Like in general in homes, what we do, we invest our money in most probably bonds, price bonds, shares, and gold because it's kind of an asset. Whenever we need it, we can just cash it up. The key points which the capital expenditure have, it involves significant and long-term financial commitments, contrast with operating expenditure, which are day-to-day expenses. Examples includes the purchasing new machinery, building facilities, or upgrading the tech infrastructure. Financial techniques refer to the methods and tools. Basically, I'm breaking down the command verb at the moment. Whatever the terms which were used in the question, first we will be explaining that, and then we can come across to the main question.
Ma'am, these are all techniques, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Because the question relies on the techniques, if you remember. We have to relate capital expenditure and proposal with them.
Okay, ma'am.
Financial techniques refer to the methods and tools used by individuals and organizations to analyze, assess, and make decisions related to the financial aspects. These techniques help in evaluating the financial viability, profitability, and risk associated with various projects, investments, or business decisions. Financial techniques are essential for effective financial management and strategic planning. So, what is the purpose of financial technique? It is just to make the management process more easier in planning. And other than that, the techniques are the methods, tools, process, steps which an organization and individual people use so that they can do the analyzation process, how they have to take the things further, everything. The first thing is the technique, the payback period. Now, this measures the time required to recover the initial investment. For example, I have invested 50,000 in project. Now, I want to recover that initial investment first, then I will think about my profit. So maybe the time period goes to 6 weeks, 4 weeks. The moment I recover my initial investment, that is going to be payback period. Then comes accounting rate of return, ARR. This calculates the average annual accounting profit as a percentage of the initial investment. Whatever the profit you have gained in an XYZ project, you are going to accumulate that with the initial investment as a percentage. We're going to multiply that within 100. We have NPV or net present value. It determines the present value of the future cash flows minus the initial investment. That is whatever we have invested at the moment right now, and whatever we are going to have the flows in the future, that is going to be the profit. After recovering the initial investment, we are going to subtract that. Only then we can get the NPV. Internal rate of return. It identifies the discount rate that makes the NPV zero. Now, internal rate of return it includes the factor discount rate. Discount rate is something which is upon the numbers, and when we invest in a project in an organization, we do get that. And we do that because we want to make the net present value zero. Discounted cash flow. It evaluates the present value of future cash flows. So whatever the inflow in the future we are going to get of the money, we are going to evaluate that. After some deduction, we are going to get the proper money. That is the NPV. Then cost benefit analysis. It compares the total cost against the total benefits to assess the overall impact. It is just like uh, strengths over weaknesses. Whatever the cost is going to be initiated on an XYZ project, are those costs greater than the benefit? Then obviously we are not going to opt for that XYZ project. If the costs are less and the benefits are more, then definitely we are going to opt for that project. It is like that. Value for money. Assess whether the benefits derived from the project justify its cost. The same thing. You are working hard, you have a team, you're funding the project. Is that worth it? It is going to be benefit, whether is it will be gonna benefit the organization or just your goodwill. Everything is going to be included in the value for money. Like in general, when we shop online or shop in the market, we always consider the price tags and the clothing material. And we do consider and ask questions from ourselves, that is whether it is value for money or not. Now, one by one, we will be looking upon the advantages and limitations of these techniques, which I just gave a brief to you. Evaluating business proposals. Now, this is the main lecture I'm starting from here. And the points, the techniques, they are already mentioned in the indicative content. Evaluating business proposals for the capital expenditure is a crucial aspect of financial decision making. The various financial techniques can be applied to assess the viability and profitability of potential investments. Now, here is an overview of some commonly used investment appraisal techniques or the financial techniques, methods, and tools. All the words are same. Payback period. It determines the time it takes for the initial investments to be covered. For example, the advantage is simple and easy to understand, emphasizes quick recovery of the investment because this is the main purpose of getting a payback period when we are initiating this method. Limitation ignores the cash flows beyond the payback period and doesn't consider the time value of money. That is, we don't bother if the initial investment is going to be recovered within 6 weeks or 6 months. This is the formula: initial investment divided by the annual cash flow. And
Ma'am, can you explain the limitation again for the payback period?
yes, uh, both the points.
Limitations.
Yeah,
Yeah,
limitation
both the points.
ignores the cash flows beyond the payback period. Now, payback period, as I told you, is the one where we get the initial investment. After the money, after the initial investment, when the money comes, that is considered as a profit. We don't consider
Correct.
while calculating payback period because that is not our purpose. Clear this point?
Okay.
Yeah, that is
Okay,
the
ma'am.
limitation because we're not going to calculate it. Whether the profit comes or not, it is just your profit. Why to consider that?
Okay, here we just are concerned with the recovery of the cost.
Yeah, cost of the initial investment that is 50,000 because we discussed that in.
Okay. Okay.
Then doesn't consider the time value of money. We don't consider the time value of money as in we don't have a
Yes.
rush to get the initial investment, whether we get in 6 days, maybe 6 months,
Mm-hmm.
6
Okay.
years. We don't care.
Okay, ma'am. Okay.
This is the formula. Initial investment, for example, 50,000. The project was about, you can say, of 2 years, and whatever the profit we gained after the initial investment, we are going to divide it by that. Then we're going to get the payback period.
Initial investment that 50,000, what we gave the example, annual cash flow, that will be what, ma'am?
Whatever the money was coming for that project.
Ah, okay.
Yeah, the
Okay,
money
ma'am.
which we weren't considering in our initial investment, that money.
Okay, ma'am. Okay.
Okay. For example, a small manufacturing company invests $100,000 in new machinery. The payback period is calculated to be 2 years, meaning the initial investment will be recovered within 2 years. Now, in the example, they have stated the investment amount, initial investment, and they have even given us 2 years as well. That the estimated time should be 2 years. Okay. Now,
Yes, ma'am.
we're going to simply divide that by 100,000 divided by 2, and we will get the payback period. Because at the moment, we're
Oh,
not getting the cash flows, right?
yes, yes.
We're only having the 2 years at the moment. That is.
Yes, yes, yes. Okay, ma'am.
Then we have accounting rate of return. It measures the average annual accounting profit as a percentage of the initial investment. Now, the advantage is relatively easy to calculate. Yes, it is easy because of the formula. Then uses the accounting profit, which is familiar to the managers. That is, they already know those numbers that we are going to expect this much amount of profit and this much amount of loss. That is why they are familiar with the accounting profit. They're not new in the business. Limitation. It ignores the time value of money, the same thing which is we are having in the payback period. The focus is on accounting profits rather than cash flow because that is what the main purpose of accounting rate of return is. We want profit rather than cash flows. Is this limitation clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. For example, a retail store invests $50,000 in a store renovation, resulting in an average annual accounting profit of $10,000. We invested 50,000 and the profit we gained was $10,000. Maybe the renovation which we did was very amazing. It boosted the sales, it boosted the customer service. Now, the accounting rate of return is then calculated by 20%. That is the answer. We calculated by annual accounting profit divided by the initial investment multiplied by 100. Clear?
Yes, ma'am. Clear.
Okay. Then we have NPV. The advantage of the NPV is incorporates the time value of money. We are going to look upon the NPV. That is why net present value is always considered the best option when we consider project options like project A, B, C. When we have to choose between the projects, we always use the NPV method because in this we quickly know that at what year we are going to get our initial investment and after that we will be working on the profit. Provides an absolute measure of profitability, at the point which I explained already. Limitation. Assume the reinvestment of cash inflows at the discount rate. For example, that is very obvious. When we gain a problem in the project, we always decide to um, put our reinvestment amount in the project because we have already regained it. In case if we want an extra amount, we can use that. So it's a kind of a limitation, it's a kind of a drawback. Because at one case, we want the initial investment back. And if something happens wrong at the project, we are going to reinvest that money into it. Yeah?
Yes, ma'am.
And requires a discount rate estimation. That is, it is just like when we do requires a discount rate estimation. When we get the payment, it is always like we fetch that up after the deductions. So discount rate is all about that. This is the formula for the NPV. If you remember the E sign, it is called the submission sign. We used to do
Yes,
that.
ma'am.
Year N. N is the number of total year. Multiply by total cash flow, whatever the money was flowing inside, we're getting as a cash inflow, divided by 1 plus discount rate, bracket N, number of years, whether 3 years, whether 4 years, or 5 years. So that is the whole formula for the net present value, and we cannot change it.
Okay.
Example, a technology company evaluates a new product development project. The present value of expected cash flows over the 5 years calculated and subtracted from the present value of cash outflows, resulting in the positive net present value of 200,000. So we have recovered the amount as well, plus we have gained the profit as well. Because it is not compulsory that always the net present value is going to be positive, it can be negative as well. Internal rate of return. Advantages accounts for the time value of money. Again, we consider this factor. We want the money as soon as back. It provides a percentage return, making it easy to compare against required rates. Because the whole calculation is in rates, for example, 43.8%, so it gets easy to fetch the answers because we're going to calculate in the percentage era. Limitation may result in multiple IRRs in complex cash flow patterns. Why it's a limitation? Because it's not easy to calculate the IRR of each and every project. It amalgamates. For project A, for example, it could be 44.3. For project B, it could be 44.356. It is like that. Doesn't account for the varying project sizes. Whether your project is bigger, smaller, we are going to conclude our answer on the internal rate of return. Because the internal rate of return is not basically considering the masses of the project, whether it is a huge project or small, it's only gonna get you a percentage. Example, an energy company assesses the construction of a solar farm. The IRR is calculated, revealing that the project has an internal rate of return of 12%. Can you believe it? It's a whole solar farm and we are going to construct it. And the return rate is only 12%. That is the profit, exceeding the company's required rate of return. They were expecting, for example, 6%, and they were amazed that they are going to get the internal rate of return of 12%. It works like that. Discounted cash flow. It evaluates the present value of the future cash inflows or flows, that is both inflow and outflow. Incorporates the time value of money, allows for more accurate assessment of long-term projects. The projects which are more than of 2 years and 5 years, we always consider this method. Relies on estimations or estimates and projections which may be uncertain. That is uncertainty in the project. It is very obvious. That is citrus paribus things. So we are going to consider this method. Requires a discount rate assumption. Discount rate, it is not necessary it is going to be given to us. Most of the time we consider the discount rate 10% and 4 and 5%. It is the like most common discount rate factors. But if they have already given us the discount rate, then we have to do the calculation on it. Otherwise, we always assume. A real estate developer evaluates the property investment. The expected future cash flow discounted at the required rate of return result in the net present value of 1 million. So in this example, you can easily say that we are considering the discounted cash flow as well. We are working on the net present value as well. So everything is interrelated. Compares the total cost of the project against its benefits. Consider both monetary and non-monetary factors. Monetary factors are the one in which we are going to talk about the qualitative. Quantitative methods, that is, the numbers and the money. And the non monetary factors are the factors which can hinder the project working. Facilitates the comprehensive analysis of project. It is very excellent tools, the CBA. It is not only used in the finance, it is also used in the businesses and economics field as well. Limitations. Assigning monetary values to the non-monetary factors can be subjective. It could be difficult, but we can do that. Because in monetary values, the main thing we're going to consider, it is going to be supply, it's going to be money printing, and the government side as well, banking sector, interest rates, everything. Difficulties in quantifying intangible benefits, the one which we cannot touch, those things are called intangible, and we have to quantify that we have to calculate it. Considering the benefits, it's going to be very difficult. It is a big drawback. A government agency is considering a public infrastructure project, maybe a park. The costs, that is construction maintenance, are weighted against the benefits, that is the economic growth and job creation. To determine if the project is economically justified, it is simply like if you have read the concept of opportunity cost in economics. You have to forgive something for something better to come. CB is that. Value for money focuses on the efficiency and the effectiveness of the investments. Consider the overall value delivered. Whether the amount you have invested to purchase that an XYZ product or a project, was it worth it or not? Subjective nature of assessing value and may be challenging to quantify the intangible benefits. The both value for money and the CBA are having the same drawback. Example, a city municipality is comparing proposals for a waste management system. The BPM analysis considers the cost, environmental impact, and long-term sustainability of each proposal to determine the best value for the community. That is what is the best, we are going to consider that. Okay, these are the rest of the points which we can consider. Risk assessment. Evaluate the risk associated with each technique and factor it into the decision-making process. Whatever method you chose, there is going to be a risk. We have to look upon that. Comparative analysis. Consider using multiple techniques for a more comprehensive evaluation. For a project XYZ, we should use NPV, payback period, IRR, and if you want another method, you can use as well. We should not rely on one calculation. It is just like same when we opt for a surgery or in a consultancy of a doctor, we always consider few opinions first. Sensitivity analysis, it assesses the impact of variation in the key assumptions or the parameters on the result. That is, it is very obvious we are going to face the variation changes in the assumption. It is not going to be safe. Ultimately, the choice of appraisal technique depends on the nature of the investment, the organization risk tolerance, and specific project characteristic. Everything, while opting for any of the method which we discussed today, we have to see the other factors or the ceteris paribus things in it as well. Why? Because we cannot only jump upon the technique, we have to see whether that XYZ organization is a multinational, is a semi multinational, is a SME, or is a smart startup. We have to see each and everything and the economic conditions as well. Here we have to assess the impact of a business proposal on the strategic direction of a business organization. Now, the command verb is assess, that is, we are going to explain each and every component in detail. And what we have to do is, we assess, we have to provide the judgment. That is, in my opinion, in the light of the above discussion, what your opinion is. That is what matters in assess. And we have to discuss the impact of the business proposal. We discuss in detail that what a business proposal is and what is the impact of it on the strategic direction, that is the organizational direction of a business. How we are going to look upon that. We discuss business proposal, strategic direction of the business. Now, the direction refers to the long-term path or the course of action that an organization takes to achieve its goals and objectives. It involves making decisions on where to allocate the resources, how to position the organization in the market, and what competitive advantage to pursue. The strategic direction guides the overall decision-making process and shapes the organization policies and initiatives. Till now, I'm sure you must be clear that what a strategic direction of a business is. It is more
Yes, ma'am.
similar to the organizational direction. The elements are we have mission and vision in it that is defines the purpose and the aspirations of the organization. Goals and objectives, specific measurable targets aligned with mission, and most probably the SMART, in which we always make the things more specific, measurable, attainable, and recoverable, plus at the end, the time limit. Market positioning, how the organization position itself relative to its competitors. Resource allocation, efficient distribution of resources to support the strategic goals. Innovation and adaptation, embracing new ideas and adapting to the market changes through the R&D. Risk management, identifying and mitigating the potential risk to strategic goals. Corporate culture, shared values and beliefs that guide behavior and decision making. Assessing, now here's the lecture I'll be starting. Here is a structured approach to assessing impact along with justifications and references to theory and research. Because assess is all about justification, it is all about the references. Alignment with organizational goals and objective, and again, these all points are in the indicative content. Evaluates how well the business proposal aligns with the organization's long-term goals and strategic objectives. Now, the justification to it is reference to the strategic management theory, particularly the concept of aligning internal activities with external opportunities and threats. That is how we can align the organizational goals and objectives. Then, market and industry analysis analyze the impact of the proposal on the organization's positioning within its industry and market. Draw on the Porter's five forces model to assess how the proposal may influence competitive forces within the industry, which we discussed right now, the SMART one. In even your assignment class, the assignment brief, we will be doing more explanation on the Porter's five forces model. Because in that class, I always make a draft for you people in that how you have to pursue with the assignment.
Yes, ma'am.
Financial implication. Evaluate the financial impact of the proposal considering the factors such as return on investment, that is ROI, cost effectiveness, CB, and profitability. Each and everything is going to be included in it. Reference to the financial management theory emphasizing the importance of sound financial decisions for the long-term success. Resource allocation and capability analysis. Resource allocation, we do it because we don't want to face the scarcity in the project, in the execution of the project. That is why we do it. Assess how the proposal utilizes and enhances the organization's existing resources and capabilities. Whatever we are having inside the organization, first we should use that, and then we can move upon purchasing new things rather than making the project more expensive. Draw on the resource-based review theory, highlight the role of unique resources and capabilities in achieving a sustainable competitive advantage. That is, we want to make a project, that is what is called resource allocation and capability analysis, to prolong for a longer period of time. Our generation should also impacted by it in a positive way. Then we have innovation and tech consideration. Consider how the proposal addresses innovation and tech trends within the industry. That is, your research and development department should be way too strong. References to the innovation management theories emphasizing the role of innovation in maintaining the competitiveness. Organizational culture and change management. Culture is again very important in it. Evaluate how the proposal may impact the culture and the need for the change management because it is not necessary the staff you have already hired, they are enough capable to accumulate and accommodate the project. Reference to the organizational culture and change management theories, emphasizing the importance of aligning strategic initiatives with the organizational culture. Whenever we are going to talk about the goals, culture, we have to talk about the strategic initiatives, planning, direction, each and every. Then stakeholder analysis. Analyze the impact of the proposal on the various stakeholders, including the customers, employees, shareholders, and the community. We are proposing a project. But if we are not considering that how it is going to impact the shareholders and the stakeholders of the organization, then it is going to be a big drawback. Risk analysis evaluate the potential risk associated with the proposal and their impact on the organization's strategic direction. These were the points which we discussed in right now in the slides 3.2. Other than the financial techniques or the investment appraisal techniques, we have to consider the other factors as well. The risk. Strategic fit and implementation plan. Evaluate how well the proposal fits into the overall strategic plan and assess the feasibility of its implementation. We have make a proposal plan. We have to execute it, but before execution, we have to see whether it fits in the organization or not. Everything is according to it or not. Conclusion. Summarize the overall impact of the business proposal on the strategic direction, considering all of the above factors. Provide a balanced perspective, acknowledging potential trade offs and emphasizing the key strategic considerations. By systematically assessing these aspects, organization can gain insights into how a business proposal may shape their strategic direction, ensuring that it contributes to long-term success and competitiveness. Mariam, is this clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, that's great. These are the examples of the points which we discussed right now. I'll be reading that quickly to you. Um,
Okay, ma'am.
these are actually the real life examples. For example, if we talk about alignment with organizational goals and objective, the best example about the Apple. Now, Apple's decision to enter the wearable tech market with the Apple Watch aligned with its broader goal of diversifying product offerings and enhancing its ecosystem. The move contributed to the strategic direction of becoming a leader in both tech and lifestyle, and that is if we purchase an Apple phone, we do purchase their AirPods, and we do purchase their Apple Watches as well. Everything should be of Apple there because they're all interconnected. MacBook, everything. Market and industry analysis. Tesla focuses on electric vehicles and renewable energy solutions is aligned with the industry trends and growing demand for the sustainable transportation. Because we people, we are working on houses, as in we want to install solar systems, and they have already given us a renewable energy solution in the cars as well. Financial implication, for example, Amazon acquisition of the Whole Foods and significant financial implication. While the initial investment was substantial, the move strategically expanded the Amazon presence in the grocery industry, contributing to its overall revenue growth as well. Because now Amazon is spread everywhere. Google investment in an artificial intelligence and machine learning capabilities reflects its commitment to leveraging advanced tech. This strategy, emphasizing on the tech and innovation, enhances the Google's competitive advantage in the search and tech industry. Definitely, the chat GPT is a best example, then Doodle is the best example. Innovation and tech consideration. Microsoft shift towards cloud computing with Azure as a strategic response to the growing importance of cloud services. This move reflects the acknowledgement of evolving tech trends and positions Microsoft as a key player in the cloud industry. That is true. Apple, Microsoft, they are the leading tech organizations other than Samsung and Huawei. Then, when IBM, we are discussing the culture now, transition from a hardware focused company to a solution and services provider that is a consultancy, it required a significant culture shift. Obviously, the people who were more related to the technology or information technology, now we don't need them, but we're not in a higher pace. So we are going to recruit. That is why we are talking about the culture and change management. Then, stakeholder analysis. Nike commitment to sustainability in supply chain and product design response to the increasing demand from environmentally conscious consumers. This strategic move not only meets customer expectations but also aligns with the values of stakeholders and communities. For example, we know that what is Zara doing at the moment? They're molesting the Palestinians. And the people there, they are literally doing protests with them. For the risk analysis, what we can do is we take the example of the vaccine called Pfizer. And that's pretty much it for the strategic fit. We can discuss Coca-Cola acquisition of the Costa Coffee. Slowly and gradually, they're taking each and every organization. And that's it.